Hi, Taylor with West Physiotherapy, and I want to share 3 tips, maybe 3.5, 4 tips for coughing well during your next respiratory virus. I'm sorry to hurt your feelings, but it's coming. It's coming for you. It's coming for all of us this season, I think. And with repeated coughing for a prolonged amount of time, we can end up with back pain, making back pain worse. We can end up aggravating pelvic floor issues like leaking or prolapse, and we can even end up really aggravating our ribs or the cartilage area of the ribs in the front. So let's get into a few of the tips. All right, number one, I want you to basically, this is good to do before you even get sick, but so let's try it now. But when you, if you start coughing a lot, also check in again with these 2 things. So one is we're going to check in with what's happening to our belly when we cough. So just try this now. Take a deep breath in and give a cough. And I want you to notice what happens under your hand. Did you feel your belly push out against your hand, or did you feel your belly sort of tighten and draw in and closer? There is a right answer here, okay? Next, I want you to place your hand, basically sit on it, put it between your sit bones. We're gonna check in with what's happening with our pelvic floor. This is good for men and women. I don't care who you are, these things need to be working for you when you're coughing so you don't end up with some kind of blowout, okay? So sit on your hand, don't hurt yourself, and then I want you to cough again. And I want you to notice what happened to that tissue between your sit bones. Did you feel it sort of get tighter or draw up, or did you feel it bulge down into your hand? Okay, when we have a really effective automatic cough, what we want is for the abs to be automatically tightening and for the pelvic floor to be automatically tightening and drawing up at it. And the reason is, when that happens, what we do is we support our back, we support our pelvic organs, so we create a stiff kind of lower canister here, so that when we create the explosive cough, the cough is going up, it's mobilizing all the secretions, it's effective at what it's supposed to do, as opposed to the cough getting directed down into our belly, down into our pelvic floor, and causing a lot of bulging and flexing in the back. This happened, I'm sorry to call you out here, honey, but this happened to my husband last winter, coughing so much, history of back pain, so violently coughing with a lot of flexion and pressure down and out that he really aggravated his back pain. It was a total bummer. I've had lots of women after getting sick come in and they said, I've never had this before, but now I'm leaking urine. And it's because they've been coughing and coughing. There's so much pressure down into that pelvic floor, it gets fatigued, and they start having bladder leakage problems. So if you felt those things pushing out instead of drawing up and in, then in the short term, what you need to do is just practice tightening them. You have a little bit of warning before you cough, right? Because you take a breath in, you close the glottis to create that increased pressure, and then you open it to let it out and cough. So when you're going through all that, you know the cough is coming, go ahead and tighten the abs, tighten the pelvic floor if you know how to. And then think a little bit about directing that cough up and out, and try to avoid a lot of flexing down. That's not going to help you expectorate, which is what your body's trying to do. Okay, so that was kind of like 1A and 1B. You've got to check in with what your belly core is doing and what your pelvic floor core is doing. All right, number 2, I'm going to tell you a little way to try to get some things moving up without having to always cough. So that explosive cough starts to get kind of exhausting for you, can start to create some rib pain. I mean, if you're really sick and coughing a lot, It can just get really tiring and it can get sore on your throat, always closing, closing, closing. So one thing that you can do is, if you're not just in a fit, it's called a huff. I think it was called this before that became something that is terrible that kids figured out how to do. But what you're going to do is you're going to forcefully kind of move some air up without creating the cough, so that if you're trying to move stuff that's down in your throat and you're coughing and coughing because it's slowly coming up, then use this to kind of mobilize a little bit and then do the cough when you feel a little bit more up here. And that's kind of gross to think about. So I'm going to show you what it is. You're going to breathe in several times. If you have too much tickle in your throat, this might not work, but you're going to breathe in, kind of like against a little pressure. Breathing in. And then you're going to give a huff. Like that. Then do your last breathing in and make that your cough. Okay. I think that actually worked for me because I had a little bit of a cold. So the huff is like you're tightening your throat a little bit. And it's going to help move secretions without having to cough. It doesn't create quite as much pressure and quite as much stress on your throat. All right, that was number 2 or 3, depending on how you're counting. And the last one is, if you've really been sick for a long time and you've really been coughing for a long time, and you're actually starting to have rib pain or pain somewhere in the chest from this repeated coughing, or you're just so fatigued that you notice every time you cough, the cough is just like doubling you over, then you can do something called splinting, and you just take a pillow and you hug it to your chest when you cough. So you're giving yourself a little external support and pressure to the front of your body, and then you're coughing, so that you're not getting so much of this hard flexing. And if you really have a sore spot, then you really like pinch the pillow to that so it doesn't feel so bad. Okay. That's all I got for that so far. So just so you know, this is something that PT can help you with. If you end up struggling with this after an illness, or you even feel like you notice those things are not automatically working, it's hard for you to figure out how to coordinate that, then that's something that you can learn with a little help from a PT. And ideally, these things start coming automatically. So I'm giving you some tips to kind of solve a problem in the short term, but through working with strengthening coordination, postural control, some of the low pressure fitness that I've been doing, these are all things that you can work on so that your body does these things automatically. You don't have to walk around thinking, am I tightening my pelvic floor, am I tightening my abs before I cough, and all this stuff, because that gets to be a bit much. But all right, good luck this season. I hope you stay well, and thanks for watching. Let me know which of the tips was the most helpful for you, or if you try them. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.